Welcome back, fellow armchair generals. This is Gamer1745 here with my continuing playthrough of Hearts of Iron 3 with Black Ice 9.11, and of course, we're playing as Japan. Now, since we're playing as Japan, we have to look over here at Europe. Now remember, the only thing that I know, at least at the time of this recording, it may have changed in the future, the only thing I know worse than the combat AI for Hearts of Iron 3 is the combat AI for Hearts of Iron 4. So all of you dissatisfied with how things go in Hearts of Iron 3, no, it'll be worse in 4 if you want to change. So Germany decided to move a massive amounts of force down here. Now maybe it's going somewhere further south, maybe, I don't know, because let's see, it has some subs down here somehow. Not quite sure how, but it does. Ours are still moving that way. We're still at peace with everybody. But it decided, and I was thinking maybe at the end of last episode that it was moving, but I don't know. These were all moving down here. Did they go to war with? Well, okay, no, they're aligning toward grants military access to Germany. I don't know for sure. This makes me question down here that this is going somewhere else, but my guess is that they all were heading down here because it looks more like they're angling this way or this way for dealing with Yugoslav partisans. And then, of course, because of decisions, Germany declares war on the Soviet Union. Now, I can't imagine a real threat. Hey, they got Bittrich in charge of Das Reich. Oh, nice. I can't imagine a real reason to move all these forces that you would move down here, because I can't imagine a British invasion strong enough to require all of these forces to deal with, even if you're totally at peace with the Soviet Union and you hadn't gone to war with them. Even a war with Turkey, or just making sure that they're not at war with anybody. No. Even if you're playing a war with Turkey or Bulgaria or whatever. And they decide to do this. Oh God. Oh God. Oh God. So let's watch and see what this, as I said before, clusterfuck is going to turn out to be. They got an Italian unit. Italy loaned Germany some units. Maybe they'll loan the entire Italian army that's up here to Germany to deal with it. That'd be nice. We have more ICs available. Okay, good. So for the moment, last episode was naval deployments. Okay, so somehow they've got some garrison divisions onto the border there and got into here before Dietl got overrun. I saw that he looked like he might have been. You can see the transport unit there was pretty badly damaged before they got in a little bit of reinforcements. So it looks like they're going to hold the German border, maybe, though I don't know here. Thinking may hold that. Okay, encirclement forces, destiny. The world holds its breath. Okay. And we'll do that. We'll get that. Not that I expected spectacular things out of Germany here. But I didn't expect this. Oh wow, they're losing some territory now. And because these units probably can't retreat very fast, if the Soviet Union's able to push in a couple more provinces, they'll lose the units being overrun. Yeah, it looks like Germany's turned its army around. It's all moving north now. Even this guy moving pretty damn fast. Oh, I don't think this is in any way means the Soviet Union is going to get into Berlin, but you know, starting out your great crusade of getting rid of Bolshevism. Bolshevism isn't the best move that they've done. Okay, destroyer crew training. Yeah, we still need to play Japan here. And again, a word to warning. I was going to say, don't tag switch over to Germany and think you're going to play, because it'll mess up Japan, it'll mess up Germany. There's no way that you can really continue the game. And then I thought, well, but I can do it, and it works sort of, kind of. Yeah, and maybe who's yeah, we'll do that. Maybe a viewer here, but definitely a good player of my mods. Yeah, I've got GGA installed, and it seems, because 10 is out, Black Ice 10 is out, and it seems to be working fine. People, it's like, oh yeah, I got this new version of the game that adds all these new units to the game. Oh, I've got GGA installed and it's working fine. And GGA removes all the new units to the game. Huh? What? Because I know there are bugs and issues. Not that there's like, oh, it crashes on me. No, it just, you don't see, because I haven't even looked yet, but I can imagine, and especially since the person who was, Das Reich, or Thinkings had to retreat, who was updating TRE for me, was trying to do it on a pre-release version and gave up, and I haven't even looked to see what the issues are yet. But if he's not, I'm not an expert modder either, but he's someone who, sort of kind of did the last couple updates for TRE and did a fine job, but he's not any sort of expert or any sort of great talent at it. But okay, and he was having trouble getting it working, so I don't know what the issues are. I never got into that point with him or anybody. So I don't know, but I just, with knowing that kind of stuff, it isn't something simple. Basically, at least for the first version I'm planning on updating TRE, is looking at the files that TRE changes. Because TRE does change a few files that Black Ice does. And looking at those files, and looking at those files, how they've changed with TRE. I mean, with Black Ice. What are the changes in them? Okay. And then comparing, contrasting, and seeing what needs to be changed with TRE. Now there's, I haven't even really looked at it yet, but there's some new trade functions for some new specialized, instead of just rare materials, but new materials type stuff. And I don't know how if that is going to affect TRE at all. And some of the stuff might be great things to add to events. I don't know if I'm going to take the time to do so. I just don't know whether I have enough time / interest to continue to take advantage of new features. But the big thing is to, one, make it so there's no, crashing bugs. Two, to the files that I change, make sure they reflect the improvements of the new versions of Black Ice. So, which could be, things like the starting OOB for Germany. So if you've changed unit types again or something like that, and the old OOB needs to be updated, well, you need to update it, or and whether I need to do a lot of work or just do a minor amount of work, I don't know on things like that, but I have to check those. Okay, naval strike tactics. I think that's under here. Naval, okay, yeah, 42s. Yeah, not too far, but let's see if we can do more. Yeah, radar looks good. Okay, yeah, okay. We'll let, I think there's a couple more divisions coming out. We'll deal with them all at once. Yeah, it looks like Germany is saving itself from a Soviet conquest quite readily, but that's very different from defeating the Soviet Union in a timely single season or even a few seasons. Our big thinking was Republic in Spain would mean Germany's defeat, because Germany would have too much attention needing down here. And they barely got anything, so that isn't playing a factor. Now, I don't know whether they'll stay neutral or not. Either going to the Soviets or going to the Allies. Both could happen, or one or the other could happen, yeah. Fire control systems. Fire control system training, yeah, that should be here. Here it is. Okay, yeah, we'll continue. No, I want production. And it mostly looks like they're saving these retreating garrison units. Not that those garrison units are particularly valuable, but you don't need to lose them over this stupid sort of mistake. And to a point, this would have been fine if one of two things. One, that army was effectively being used to squash, the British down here or something like that, or some other particular reason, and that the Germans didn't declare war on the Soviet Union, meaning the Soviet Union declared war on the Germans. And then, yeah, that'd be sort of fine, because it's, you're supposed to use your army effectively to achieve goals, and then if something happens, you have your, your garrison forces there to stall, delay until you get your army there. But that's not what happened. Okay, yes. Good, we want commerce defense, because we got lots and lots of islands. In fact, we are an island, so we have resources coming in via the sea, supplies going out, and yes. So we need to protect our commerce. On that note, you can see we currently have 238 unused transports available, and plus all of these that we can definitely shut down, like there's Sasebo to Dover in England with 6 isn't going to go when we're at war with Britain, and similar sorts of things will be disappearing and concentrating on some of the big supply things to like Saigon and Haiphong will definitely keep going. But so we'll cut back on some of that. That's why we are increasing that, and 117 unused, because I don't think any is being used right now. Convoy escorts, but maybe they are being used even though we're at peace, I don't know. But we got more of those coming here, and we're going to keep building some more and more to have a cushion against, loss. Japan really had a problem because they did not. They had maybe a decent cushion at start, but they didn't keep building a cushion once the war was started. And, focusing on what they really needed to do, which, was naval warfare vessels, but even there they couldn't keep up, so. And of course we want to sink. Yes, some cores are nice. Sink as much of the enemy fleet and commerce as we can as well, as they're going to try to do this. Wow, they're really pushing in on the Germans. Now let's take a quick look at our front with them. Okay, well, we are somewhat, probably a bit more than if this had gone, if Xinjiang or Xinjiang, or however you want to say it out here, went to the, because like it normally does, go to, oh man, I want to say the comm block, but the Comintern faction, like Mongolia, they don't have garrisons on the Mongolian or Tutuvao or whatever border out here. So we're definitely, maybe just in a minor way, but definitely tying up some forces as well as these forces over here. Tying up. So this would have been happening whether this was Manchukuo or Japan. Maybe less under Manchukuo, but I don't know that that would be the case. Okay, cruiser crew training. And bombing site advance. Very good. Here. Okay, yeah, stop that until at least by 43. Yeah, let's move both of those over to that. Yeah. We'll take some of these cores. We've already paid for them basically. So no point in not taking them. Yes, there's outbreaks of partisans. The Croats should be able to deal with them, but even if they're not, deal with real problems. Sure. I guess this, to me, is like as fascinating as a car wreck or something. Train wreck or whatever. You see it coming, you see it happening. What's Romania doing right now? Are they in the war or not? Yep, okay. Just wondered if they... Oh, I guess there is some combat going on along here. Just wondered. Okay, spotting advance. Very good. I think that's down in naval doctrines. Yes, okay. Yeah, so we're either finishing up the 41s or we've, you know, still doing that, or we've done all that we need to do. Yeah, I sort of kind of think this is worth the pushing ahead advance, especially now that we've got the okay. Okay, we've got, oh, so we should have that. We'll get these guys coming. Okay, this may be short-sighted, but I think because they're so cheap, just so attractive. Yeah, okay, 4 pocket battleships. As opposed to getting heavy cruisers, which are a bit more, I believe. And battleships are a huge more cost. So... Okay, let's deploy. Well, we'll probably send them out from here. So, okay, we got that. So him, the 53rd. Do we have a 53rd? Just for symmetry's purpose, no. Okay, well, we'll use the 32nd. Nope, that's already a unit. Okay, should have looked at unit size. 40. We'll do the 40th division. The whale division, okay. And we will put down These guys, I'm not going to send them out just yet, but mostly putting them down to have them, these guys start upgrading for better invasion capabilities. Probably one to the Hawaiian invasion, to a Marine division that's out here. Don't I have a Marine division out here? I thought I did. Maybe that was that unit that didn't get sent. Okay, we got that. Okay, one of those two units will probably be getting that. Got some tanks there. I knew I sent at least one tank unit out. Maybe not great tank units, but still tank units to do some sort of invasion of islands effectively. Hopefully effectively. Now, where are you guys going? Oh, we had a partisan outbreak here, so they're sending... Oh, God. Oh, God. Well, there are a bunch of them, yeah. But really now? You're sending all of these forces, some of these forces, west to deal with the outbreak in France? That may be a bit too much for the AI to cope with. Okay, Navy, nav air tactics advance. Very good. Which probably means we... yeah, 42, we'll stop that. I know we're still pushing those, but... yeah, I think we'll continue doing the 42 here, though. And the Kinjo-san Maru, Sir, the Imperial Navy Admiral Staff. Boy, that's bad. Whatever. Have started the work to convert 14 merchant ships to be added to our navy as armed merchant cruisers. The Kinjo-san Maru was the first of 14. Tokusetsu Junyo Kan special cruisers, armed merchant cruisers, or raiders into the service during World War, or during this one. Bangkoku Maru. Okay, yep. So let's see just what that gave us. Okay, so just a currently a raider. We'll give it a, yeah, we'll give it him. And let's give them to sub command, because they'll be in essence sort of, you know, commerce raiders and not fleet action or any sort of thing like that. So we'll send those out to deal with stuff, you know. Well, I don't know. Thinking about European waters, but I don't know that that would be any more healthy. We'll let them get better organized. Yeah, these partisan outbreak stuff I think are good for the human player, but I don't know that they're good for the... If these were done by events, good for the AI. Okay, new industrial zone. Very nice. Yes, okay, stop that for now at least. And commander decision making, that's down under here. Okay, and we're going to continue to... And one of the reasons I'm pushing, say, ahead on these more so than on some other things, though this does affect so many units, those are sort of universally affecting, and we are getting ready to start pushing on some of this other stuff. Mechanizing of infantry, it's a 41, we'll do it. I don't know if we're going to build any of those, but might as well do that now to have the ability if I want to armor up things. Armored car designs, we could do that. We've got a fair amount of those out and about. Armored cars, that is. We would give them, sure. You can have fuel, Vichy France. It looks like they're making a little progress here and a little progress there, and maybe reversing some of the initial gains. Now, of course, the initial gains were against, you know, empty provinces, so that is not, you know, surprising that they made those advances. Time to do some more. Okay, so we got some pocket battleships coming. Got a bunch more aircraft, but I think, I know a lot of these are long-term things, but we've got a bunch of these. Let's go 2 of those and 6 of these, basically for a 3-in-1 combination. The flying boats have better spotting, considerably better spotting capabilities than the bombers do, naval bombers, but not nearly as good a naval attack. A pretty good submarine attack, I believe. Maybe a little better submarine attack than naval bombers. Sort of to reflect the roles that they played in the war. So it's sort of good to mix them that way. That way they spot the enemy well, but can bomb surface fleets fairly well. Okay, advanced tank optics. Yeah, okay. We may do something of that in the future, but no current plans. You know, let's get the armor sort of good enough, but I'm quite honestly not planning on trying to win the armor tech race. Yeah, that helps. Hurts a little bit, but helps. So yeah, so we've got a bunch more. I'm really counting on my naval air, both carrier types, even though some of them I'm going to be basing off of land bases, and pure land-based types on dealing with the American Navy. I really, really hope and plan that all significant major, whatever you want to call them, naval battles, we will be able to vector in our air into them. So, sure, battleships and whatnot, very well maybe fighting other battleships, but I really want that air to come in and sort of at minimum equalize things, at maximum slaughter the enemy naval forces with air power, and it just sort of mopping up, if you will, the remnants with our surface fleet. I guess in short, that's sort of what I'm hoping to deal with, the doom stacks and whatever. Okay, fighter ground control advance. Okay, tactical air command, ground attack, yeah, reduce the penalty, so we could do that better. First Panzer Division there under von Welch. Yeah, like I suspected, they were going to halt the Soviet advance. There's some strategic bombers going after somewhere here, apparently. Soviets did do some minor token bombing raids with their heavy strategic bombers, but as you know, it's sort of token as in very small amounts and had no real effect on the war in any way. Not just not destroying lots of factories or anything, but also not overly shifting deployment of air assets. Because you have to realize here, and again I'll lecture for the moment, however effective or ineffective bombing is that the British and the Americans were doing on the war production capabilities, because bombing can be effective on, say, national morale. You know, soldiers at the front aren't happy to get notices from their neighbors that their husband, well, not their husband most likely, I mean, there are women up at the front, but that their fathers or mothers or their wives or their children were bombed and died. You know, they don't want to get those letters and notices up at the front saying that they've lost family or that their home is destroyed even though their family was safe in a bomb shelter. They don't want to get that. So it might make them angry, and if they are, you know, fighting their way towards London and London is bombing their home, they're going to fight pretty hard to get towards London. But if it's the situation in which Germany is fighting, you know, if you will, pointless, you know, not looking like it's winning, but nor is it, you know, losing or something, but just sort of pointlessly fighting on the Eastern Front, and Britain is sort of safe, relatively speaking, and it's just bombing Germany, you know, and it looks like Germany can't do anything about it, it's going to be disheartening to the soldier at the front. Not that maybe he's going to give up because he realizes the Soviets might come in or something else, but it's still disheartening, okay? Because it's, you know, you go, are they doing enough? Are they doing the right things? You know, what's being done to stop this? And so you have those effects, but let's push all of those sort of political and morale effects aside. Just on how effective the bombing is at stopping war production. Because I recently watched on Forgotten Weapons channel, yeah, I'll give it a plug, great one if you like it, a rundown of 3 different Mauser rifles. And I learned something about my Mauser rifle that I have, one of my Mauser rifles that I have. And one was a pre-war rifle. One was I think it was a 32 or something, made before the Nazis came to power, so there's no, you know, swastika Waffen-Amp stamps on it, because there was no Waffen-Amp at the time. There's sort of civilian style markings. And then one was I think a 44 dated rifle, so well into the war. And the final one was of the Mauser, you know, K98K. It was a Kriegsmodell, sort of war model, sort of last ditch, not maybe quite the last ditch, but getting into sort of that, and which is sort of like a 45 production of the Mauser rifle, and how it changes over time. And I know you all want to hear this stuff, but I'm sort of sarcastically or facetious, I don't know, saying that, maybe you do. How before the war, all the rifles were made out of, I think they said oak, nice oak stocks. Well, to get a stock for a rifle, you need a pretty good piece of wood. It's not just any old piece of wood. The grain has to be running in the right way and whatnot to be sort of strong and good. But you have to get it, and then you have to dry it out. Now, there's 2 basic ways to dry out, to my knowledge. One is to put it outside or someplace or in a building or whatever, but outside where it's not going to get rained on. So like under, you know, just a simple shed, roof, tarps, just whatever, and just let it sit there, because you don't want green wood or freshly cut down trees. So you want it dried out, so that it doesn't, as it sort of naturally dries out, you don't want the wood changing shape and dimensions, around a metal object. So it needs to dry out. The other way is put it in a kiln, a hot thing, and that's what a lot of lumber I know today is sort of kiln drying. So you don't have to let it sit there for a year or half a year. You just put it in there, in a few days you take it out, and it sort of heats it up, dries out the wood. Now it's useful because it's sort of in its final, because wood will swell back in it if it gets wet, but it's sort of in its most compact shape. So, and then you need to do it. So you need to do this. So Germany's cranking out rifles, and even there they start to run out of wood. So they do, which is actually so much stronger, a laminated wood process, because laminated you can go in with cheaper qualities of wood, and you can kiln dry it or whatever. You still need to dry it out, and then but it doesn't have to be as nice blocks of wood, without any cracks or without any marls or whatever they call them, where the branches have gone through them or something. They have to be a lot of, you have to really select nice wood to get good stock. It can just be standard slabs, thinly sliced slabs of wood that then you glue and compress together, and it's laminated. And so later war they're laminating stuff to meet the needs of the army, and it's maybe in some ways better. And even the final model, it is very roughly done wood. Still the breech, the locking, the bolt type area is still done nicely, but a lot of the other stuff is done pretty badly. And I have one Mauser, I have several, but I have one Mauser rifle that I got at I forget what it was, but at a very good price at the time. And it's in very nice shape, and it's a BYF code, which is a code for Mauser. Different people made them, including Gustloff and various others I don't know all right offhand, including the Czech. The Czech manufacturing made Mausers. I have a Czech World War II, during World War II, but made in the Czech factories. That's where they made them all. A German mountain Mauser as well too, for the mountain troops. Lighter weight, really nice gun, really well built. That's sort of when they were making them super nice. But so I've got this, and it has a BYF code 42, which I take to be in 1942 production range, and it's in really nice shape, except for up at the the end of the stock, near where the bayonet would go, and it has a sort of simple barrel band there, and I noticed that when I bought it, and so I negotiated the price down a bit on it. And the wood sort of kind of matches, but if you touch it, it's rougher than the rest of the stock, and the sort of fit to where the barrel band goes is not as good, and where the end cap is, it's just a sort of a metal band there. I took that to be some sort of post-war fix, but it almost, but basically, but there's one little minor thing, matches sort of the Kriegsmodell front barrel band or front end cap kind of thing, in that instead of a nice metal bracket that then there's a spring in the stock that you push in to take it off, it's just simply the wood is there, and there's simply a screw through this band to hold it onto the stock, to be the end cap to keep it from splitting. And so I've never unscrewed it, so I haven't looked inside, and there's no hole drilled for the cleaning rod, and there's no attachment point for the bayonet lug, attachment point for the bayonet lug there. That's all missing. So I took that, but that's exactly what was done for the Kriegsmodell. They're sort of saying, well, you don't need to clean your rifle because you're not going to live long enough to need cleaning your rifle. Well, I doubt it's quite that. I bet you it's more that there's enough cleaning rods sort of floating around, and there's other sort of things. You don't need to attach one into the rifle. And yeah, as the war is going on, you're really not, doing real bayonet charges, so you don't need to have the bayonet on there. So simplification of German manufacturing. They look at this. So everything else on that gun is like a 42 super nice bit of gun, except for that thing. So I take it that, and then like sure is something got damaged up there. But since this is done like the Kriegsmodell, is probably around either very late 44 or early 45, it gets damaged and sent back to presumably Mauser or somebody to do a rebuild job on it. I'm guessing that somebody had a bayonet on it and jammed it into something, probably not a person, probably into something, and was using it as like a pry bar or something, you know, that probably cracked or whatever the stock, because I think the bayonet lug, I think, goes into the stock and not onto the barrel. You know, not welded to the barrel. It's into the stock, I think. And so it, you know, got probably cracked and damaged, so gets sent back to be fixed, and they just go, yeah, you know, glue in or whatever a piece of wood onto the rest of the stock, and just stick on one of our new version of, you know, the end cap on it, and send it back out to the field. And so that's what I take to have been done to my Mauser. So now to my mind, the Mauser's value is a bit higher than I thought it was, because it is not a perfect example of a 42 Mauser rifle, because it's missing the bayonet lug, missing the cleaning rod, and it doesn't match. But it is a wartime fix, so that's right. And so a right Mauser, whatever it is, right to the period, is much better than some sort of funky post-war fix thing. So yeah, so that's interesting. I learned that. And so bombing, and some of the stuff that early in the war Britain was even bombing some of the forests just to deal with some of the wood stuff. So however effective the bombing, strategic bombing, may be on destroying things like warehouses filled with wood for stocks for guns, or bombing factories that build artillery rounds or whatever, you have that effect on the war. You know, because if you don't have artillery rounds flowing to the artillery guns, you can't have offensive or defensive actions after a point, because you run out of ammo. So that, however effective you have that on the bombing, you also have the other effect that the bombing has. It is all the anti-aircraft gun emplacements that take up anti-aircraft shells, are basically, you know, just, you can make it out of the same basic factory, anti-tank shells or artillery shells or whatever. So instead of making you know, especially like for the 88s, instead of making you know, artillery shells, you're making anti-aircraft shells, and you're like 20 millimeter or 37 millimeter anti-aircraft guns. Well, instead of putting those out at the front as high firepower for ground targets and also anti-aircraft at the front, they're at home. All those troops are at home manning all those guns. And then the fighters. This is why Germany was losing the fighter war on all of the fronts towards the end of the war, because they were concentrating most all of their fighters defending their factories at homeland. So we can take however effective the 8th Air Force was in bombing Germany, in destroying of a particular factory or factories, or, you know, destroying Schweinfurt and the ball bearing factory or whatever, that might or might not, how that affects the outcome of the war. You're also affecting it by the military reaction to these events. Well, the very limited Soviet reaction or bombing was so minor, it really didn't divert anything from the war effort. So it was just more of a propaganda effort. And so there then you do have the political, because I think some of their early bombing, you know, it was night bombing and just a little bit, with some of the earlier bombing, I'm not saying the earliest, but some of the earlier bombings in some of places like Berlin and some of the things, but it was very, very minor. But still, it has a propaganda effect. One, of course, you can, you know, shout it out to the Soviet people, yeah, we bombed Berlin tonight, or, you know, or last night, or whatever. And of course, you know, the Germans, hey, you're not keeping us safe. So it does have that effect in a minor way, because if you just do it once, people get over it after a day or two. But if it keeps happening, that's a different matter. Okay, air superiority tactics. Okay, See, I just don't know how much, when I'm doing air interception, how much that will help. Obviously, it helps the CAG duty efficiency, so that's part of the reason I did it. Because most of the time, I'm going to be using interception tactics. Huh. Yeah. So I guess now, mostly we're looking at going after 42 technologies, because we're about halfway through the year, and we've run out of most 41 technologies that we're really planning on doing. Okay, light cruiser crew training. Okay, last of all of these up here, still got those 3 down on the bottom. Got all of the 42 here. Yeah, we'll get to that now. Interception tactics. Yeah, we'll stop that. I'd rather do those and for 42. And light armor designs have advanced. Very good. And that's grayed out. Well, we have 3 of those, and that could be done in a useful amount of time, so we'll grab that. Well, I think we're going to end the episode here. I want to thank you all for watching. Thanks for liking the videos, if you would. And, yeah, so we got the Italian army now streaming over to deal with these partisans. Very good, including German units loaned to the Italian army. Yeah, that's really good planning. Yeah, so, if you haven't already, please subscribe to the channel. And, of course, please post your questions, comments, suggestions, tips. Love hearing from you. See you next time for more Hearts of Iron.